Welcome, everyone. We are live once again with a new episode of Level Up Law. Every Tuesday at noon, South Carolina Legal Services levels up your legal knowledge about an area of law that we practice in. And continuing our observance of Second Chances Month, today we are delighted to bring you an episode on collateral consequences of criminal records. Hello, everyone. I'm Susan Ingalls, Senior Staff Attorney and host of Level Up Law, and our producer, Kenneth Elliott, is here with me as well. You are viewing our lead Barriers to Employment attorney, Tiffany Love, from our office up in Rock Hill, South Carolina. Tiffany is going to discuss how criminal records have collateral consequences, so really looking forward to that. But before we get started, we always want to remind you that this is not legal advice. Just general information for the public, and it is valuable information. But if you need the help of a lawyer, you can call our intake line here at South Carolina Legal Services or apply online. We'll give you that information at the end of this presentation. You are seeing on your screen right now a QR code. And this is so you can suggest an episode of Level Up Law. We always want to get our audience's thoughts on what is important information for them. So please take a moment, scan that QR code, whether you're live or on the replay, and send us your thoughts on an episode for the future. We'll be glad to take that into consideration. Always looking for ideas. And do remember, as a reminder, all of our episodes are posted by producer Kenneth Elliott to the Level Up Law playlist on our YouTube channel, usually very quickly, within about 24 hours. So, Tiffany, let's get started.
Thank you, Susie. As Susie mentioned, my name is Tiffany Love. I'm the lead Barriers to Employment attorney in our office in Rock Hill. I am going to be talking about collateral consequences of criminal records today. This is kind of our last presentation, wrapping up Second Chance Month. Every April is Second Chance Month. And we wanted to use this month to kind of expound on some of the things we've already spoken on, as well as provide you some new information. So I know Susie mentioned that we have other Level Up Law episodes, and so I definitely encourage you to go back and watch our presentation this month on SOR removals, as well as a presentation regarding Second Chance Month from Jerry Blassingame from Soteria. So please go back and watch those episodes, as they have a lot of good information about second chances and reentry as well. So before we can even start with talking about collateral consequences, we want to address what is a criminal record. So a criminal record is a list of a person's contacts within the criminal justice system. That is going to be data that's kept by SLED, that's arrest, even if there were no convictions. So take that as, say you have a possession charge and you paid a ticket for it, or you had to pay a fine, that is still considered guilty. So that's an arrest, even if there was no conviction. You actually were convicted. Dismissed charges, not prosecuted charges, not guilty verdicts, and also convictions. You also want to be able to see what's on your criminal record before you can even start to delve into the collateral consequences of your record. And there are a few ways that you can see what's on your record. In South Carolina, you want to check your SLED report. You can go to sled.sc.gov. On SLED's website, they allow you to complete an online request for your SLED report, or you can print out the application and mail it into SLED for $25. And you have to send them a self-addressed envelope as well, so they can mail it back to you. And that's going to be all of your charges from South Carolina. Also, you can go to sccourts.org, and if you look on the right side of the screen, there's a quick links tab, and you can select the county where your conviction occurred and enter your name or your case number, and it should bring up your criminal record information as well. Or say you are working to become employed and you interview for a position and they pull your background check, you may get a copy of that background check to see how it was used in making their hiring decision. And that's a good way just to see whether or not the background check is accurate. If it includes all the information, or if it includes, incorrect information or duplicates, that's a good way to get your record as well to see what's on it. So what are collateral consequences? It's the effects of your criminal record after you have completed your sentence. So that's everything from employment, if you're trying to get professional licensing, public housing or private housing, certain public benefits, whether you're trying to get Social Security or SNAP benefits, that could be a collateral consequence of your record, and even federal student loans or grants. Another collateral consequence, if you're trying to secure employment, or you want to maintain the employment that you have, or you want to seek a promotion, and employment can be a collateral consequence of that, collateral consequence of your record. And so technically your record can't be used in any way that is discriminatory. If so, you may have protections and should contact either the EEOC or the Fair Credit Reporting Act. However, or under the Fair Credit Reporting Act, you may have, protections under those laws. However, securing employment, maintaining employment, and promotions or being ineligible for promotions can definitely be collateral consequences to your employment status. If you want to obtain a professional license, so you may not be able to meet your requirements to graduate for whatever your program you're in to even get towards that professional licensing. You may not be able to qualify for an internship or an externship. Say you have a domestic violence charge and you want to work in childcare or in a medical facility, and you need an internship and an externship to, be able to take during your last semester to actually work in your field, and you can't qualify for those because of your criminal record. You may be required to, get your fingerprints to that company or school or agency, and you may not be able to complete programming because after they ran your fingerprints, your criminal record appears. You may have to participate in a character and fitness interview that may be required for participation for you to complete your, to get your professional licensing. Or you may be ineligible to sit for the examination if you can't get all of those requirements we just discussed above. And ultimately, you may not be able to obtain that license. So generally, with gainful employment, it's going to be the key to reducing recidivism. And South Carolina has clarified that licensure can't be denied solely based on prior criminal convictions unless it is directly related to the duties, responsibilities, or fitness of the occupation that you are seeking. So specifically responsibilities of the profession. If it's directly related, then that may be cause for concern because of your criminal record. But if you are denied, you do have the opportunity to appeal that denial and to understand and be notified of exactly why you were denied for that position or that professional license. Also, housing can be a collateral consequence of a criminal record. You may be ineligible for public housing, or you may be ineligible for private housing. You may have difficulty obtaining private housing. So with public housing, HUD mandates explicit bans on admission or occupancy in public housing programs or housing choice voucher programs. And if you are convicted of manufacturing, producing methamphetamine on the premises of federally assisted housing, or you're a sex offender subject to a lifetime requirement under the state sex offender registry program, then you will be prevented from public housing or housing choice voucher program. Also, you have to keep in mind that public housing authorities, they do have some discretion to set their own policies, and they can consider a record of arrest, but the underlying conduct should be relevant for the admission decision. So the conviction should be relevant to why they didn't allow you to seek housing. For private housing, while the Fair Housing Act provides protections from being not denied housing due to a prior arrest or a conviction, The outcomes can be difficult to measure, and that's because let's say there are multiple candidates who are seeking housing from a private landlord, and only one of you have a criminal record. More than likely, and that's not every case, but they may go with a person who does not have a criminal record. So it can also be a barrier to housing, and it's the consequence of your criminal record. SNAP benefits, so getting nutritional assistance in South Carolina or anywhere, but specifically South Carolina with SNAP benefits may be an issue if you have a criminal record. At this time, South Carolina is still the only state to not opt out of the 1996 Personal Responsibility and Work Opportunity Reconciliation Act. So essentially the welfare reform that was signed by President Clinton. So this particular act, in part, it banned persons with a felony drug conviction for life, so they couldn't get benefits. Hopefully with the Restore Act of 2023, well, it was the act that was introduced for Congress to repeal the law that allows states to deny nutrition assistance to individuals with felony drug convictions during their lifetime. So as of right now, there's still not a way to kind of fix those collateral consequences federally yet for South Carolina so that a person can be entitled to SNAP benefits. But there are ideas out there and legislation, is being addressed with that. Also with SNAP benefits, if a person is a fleeing felon, they can't get SNAP benefits, or if they're institutionalized. And so these are all collateral consequences of a person even being able to get food benefits, if they have a record. Also under public benefits, we have Social Security. So if a person is receiving Social Security retirement, survivors, or disability benefits, or they are institutionalized more than 30 days, those benefits are going to be stopped if any of those mentioned have been institutionalized for 30 days. Also, if they fail to report incarceration, that could lead to an overpayment of benefits that just plays into the cycle of collateral consequences because now you have debt that you need to repay. And also, just keep in mind that benefits they may be able to be scheduled to restart upon release. However, while that person is incarcerated or institutionalized for more than 30 days, those benefits are going to stop. If not, it may result in an overpayment. We also have student loans or grants. You may be ineligible to go back to school if you have a criminal record. Generally, your eligibility for federal student aid, it can be affected by incarceration. However, drug convictions, they no longer affect your federal student aid eligibility. If you are confined in adult correctional facility or a juvenile justice facility, your eligibility is limited. However, once released, the limitations from the incarceration will be released and you can qualify for federal student loans or grants. Also, if you're on probation or parole or living in a halfway house, you may also be eligible for student aid with certain restrictions. So what can you do? Well, in South Carolina, we offer expungements, which is the complete destruction of a person's arrest records. So if you get a copy of your criminal background, as we discussed a little bit earlier in the presentation on how you can do that, you can review it and determine whether or not you are eligible for an expungement. And if the charges can be removed, then you may be eligible, you may be eligible to be relieved of some of those collateral consequences that we just mentioned because they no longer will appear. You can seek a pardon via the South Carolina Department of Probation, Parole, and Pardon Services. A pardon is the state's forgiveness for the convictions on your record. While a pardon will not remove the charges from your record, they will still appear. It is also extremely helpful in relieving you of the collateral consequences discussed. And I do have the link on the screen where you may obtain a pardon application or just more information about pardons. For student loans, you can go to studentaid.gov. You should apply anyway. and complete the FAFSA, because even if you have a criminal record and it's making you ineligible for student loans, you may still be eligible for Pell Grants. And also, there are some programs too where you can complete drug rehabilitation programs or take drug tests administered by the drug rehabilitation program. But all of this information, again, is listed on studentaid.gov, and you can determine your exact eligibility on that website as well, and also apply. All right, and that is all I have today on collateral consequences. Please feel free to check all of the other videos that we have, including some specifically on expungements and pardons that can help you through the process and help to relieve some of these collateral consequences that you may be dealing with. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much, Tiffany. That was a great, just basic, presentation on what are the collateral consequences that people need to be thinking about. So, great way to conclude the episodes that we have for everyone this month for Second Chances Month. Really appreciate you being here with us. And, you're right, we have other episodes that go into some detail about expungements and pardons and things like that. So that's why you should always go to our YouTube channel. For our audience, just look up the Level Up Law playlist right there on YouTube at South Carolina or at SC Legal Services. Now, and also, I wanted to mention that again, in addition to the Level Up Law episodes that we have, Tiffany has created an online classroom for us that you can find at learnthelaw.org that goes through those steps as well. So that's a great resource amongst all the other resources that we have for you here at South Carolina Legal Services. And as you're looking at your screen, you see all the ways that you can follow us on social media. Our website is always a great spot to find other resources. And so we invite everyone to go there and check that out. And when you're on our YouTube channel, I can announce today that we have exceeded 3,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel. And thanks to our audience, because we really are excited about that. I think Level Up Law is a big part of us increasing that subscriber list. And, we want as many people as possible to get this good information that we're putting out, not just here on Level Up Law, but all the other resources that we have here at South Carolina Legal Services. So we're really excited about that. But if you haven't subscribed, you still need to subscribe as well and sign up for those notifications so you'll know every time that we post a new video, whether it's on Level Up Law or just a video that we're sharing on our YouTube channel. So, really, I always want to say too, while you're there, if you found this video or some other video helpful, be sure and share it to other people that you think it may be helpful to, even if it's not something that's helpful to you. And so don't forget that QR code down there. We'll be on for just another minute or so you can be scanning that to sign up for our newsletter and other things. And we always encourage people to do that. So we've got you on the list and you can get all the information that we put out. We do want as many people to get this important information. And as I said, you may not need it, but you probably know someone who does. So thanks again to Attorney Tiffany Love up there in our Rock Hill, South Carolina office. We really appreciate the excellent presentation today, Tiffany. You're always a great resource for us here on Level Up Law. And thanks to you, our audience. We hope, again, that this information is helpful to you and that you will be sure to tune in next week for another live episode of Level Up Law, where our attorney, Holly Webster, will be observing with us Housing Month, Fair Housing Month, and talking about the issues surrounding animals when you are renting. So definitely join us then. Again, thanks, Tiffany, producer Kenneth Elliott, and our viewers both live and on the replay. That concludes today's webinar. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.